All right. So what I'm going to show you is how you can actually uh, a great way of like once you have a winning ad, how to then build off that winning ad to create better ads from it.
Mhm.
And this is called a Swiss Army knife. Uh, show you how this works. One
Let me
second.
stop sharing screen or
No, you keep sharing. It's great. Let me just pause this. What you want to do is what's called a Swiss Army knife, and essentially, you take a single concept like you have now, and then you break it into different ideas. So I'll share my screen. And I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm not
it's
sure if
really
that makes sense to everybody, but a lot of people, most advertisers will test different variations of the same idea. When when you do that, what happens is you pretty much are just replicating the same ad with maybe like a different headline or different thing added in, and it doesn't really make a difference, right? It doesn't really affect
exactly.
like click through rate
Yeah,
or anything.
even if I record a new video that's it's just too similar, it seems. So I need to like do
Yeah,
location. Yeah.
yeah. So think of it like this. So essentially, what you and this is how we usually do ads, right? Is we start off. You've got a core concept, right? So this is your angle. Then what you want to do is, so this is your angle and kind of what we call our seed, but then you have what's called branches. So your branches are what we call emotional frames, which are also known as blades, which are these. Okay. So you've got essentially all these blades that you can choose from. You've got your customer. So, like your customer physical, your customer emotional, your customer positive. So you've got love, hero, best friend, positive belief. Your customer negative, you've got enemy, hate, victim icon, negative belief. And then you've got you, which is the service. So your service, your product, and you and the advertiser. So I start off with the negative and I'll do enemy, hate, victim icon, right? So can you copy the ad copy inside the in the thing so I can see like what it is?
The actual ad copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The whole primary text.
Yeah, check out the whole primary text, yeah.
Sure.
And then let's do enemy, victim icon, negative belief. Okay. So this is how we'll do it. So this is the ad here, right? So this doesn't really have, I would say, an angle. Like it. So if we look here, the way we dissect this ad is every ad has four elements really. You've got the lead, and then you've got the transition, and then you've got the sale, and then you've got the close. So the
Hmm.
lead is basically like how you stop people and get their attention. Transition is where we go into actually transitioning to the next part, right?
Hmm.
Then you've got the sale, which goes through and actually like makes the sale, like here's what you should do, and then the close, which is like your CTA. What you want to do is, if you want to increase CTR, or just like basically the most important part is just the lead. So here it's like stop scrolling. Have you heard of private health insurance?
Hmm.
Right. Um, so this one, I mean, who hasn't heard of private health insurance? What's the process behind that? Is that like is that
That's the biggest word that has really caught people. That we're really kind of pushing because private health insurance is everything else that's not government subsidized or government partnered or employee group plan, and not Medicare, not Medicaid, kind of the open market. There's different rules with it. So private is kind of the key word, and people really are attracted to that word.
got you? Okay. So private health insurance. If somebody said this one private health insurance, affordable, flexible, and personal health care solutions for family, a dedicated insurance expert will help you throughout the lifetime of your plan. So yeah, private health insurance is catered, it's tailored. Okay, so what is the worst enemy? Like basically, worst enemy is um the manifestation of like who they hate, right? So like for me, something that I hate is ads that don't perform, right? But the worst enemy of that would be, logging onto Facebook and just seeing that I spent a ton of money with no conversions. Or the
Mhm.
worst enemy could be, the rules have turned all my ads off because they're all underperforming or something. So what is it?
Yeah, I mean, cost per lead, cost per closed lead. I mean, we focus on that. That's what it's all about, right? For us. I
So
mean,
is this
capturing the leads, but it's like a funnel. I mean, of course, is that what the question is?
um well, is it this is consumer facing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, got you. So with these people, what's the
Oh, for them, you mean from their perspective?
yeah, like what's something they absolutely hate?
Oh, to confusion on the health industry.
Confusion?
Premiums are too high.
Okay, so
Not enough
confusion is like something they hate. So what's their worst enemy? What's like an example of that?
cost,
Hmm.
cost of premium.
Cost of premium, yeah, but what's more of like an example?
High out-of-pocket cost.
Like what about like paying all this money every month and then it gets to actually
And
cashing
then
in
it doesn't work.
and it's not included. So
Mhm.
maybe a worst enemy equals, um paying a premium every month only to see it's not actually
Yeah.
covered.
So worst enemy is like a worst case scenario type situation. Like, you know, you,
Yeah, it's like what is like a physical manifestation of that,
okay.
right? So let's put worst enemy here, right? And then you've got negative belief. So what's a negative belief about this is like I mean we can just go find it. Like I like to
I mean,
so
health insurance is private health insurance is a scam. I get that a lot.
okay, so let's do
Or
this is where I get like all the good stuff. Private health insurance. Um I just Reddit's where you get like the good. Uh, right. Oh wait, no, it's good. Okay. Okay, so
scams first sentence. And it is in a lot of ways. I mean, it's a racket, and if you, from a certain perspective, the way that it's set up, but the way that we project ourselves in our philosophy and belief is and our mission is to be able to help people navigate this, the confusion and the difficulty of getting a good plan and getting it to work and trusting individuals to help you stay with you for the lifetime of the plan, that kind of thing.
yeah, it's like I once did this contract like years ago, where we created this thing called a clever policy for like a big insurance company, basically like, and a clever policy was just like I think it was like a short-term insurance plan just to get what they needed and they can add on what they needed
Right.
after.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
actually had an econ play where they could buy it on the site. And the CPA was crushing it on there. But that's we use the same strategy. So it's like, all right, so when a youth health insurance had a scare was difficult, but had to co-pay 5-minute consult with doctor, right? So like
Yeah.
that is a really good example of a worst
Mhm.
enemy.
Or
So
yeah, and the catastrophic one too is like I pay, for this premium hundreds of dollars a month, and then I have to have surgery and it doesn't cover anything. I mean, that's probably
yeah,
a worst scenario.
so a negative belief is like hefty copays. Victim icon is, it's all a big scam.
Yep.
Um, customer hates, could be like overpriced.
getting bombarded. Well, it hates what, the plan or the process? Because people are currently getting bombarded with if they put their information into a lead, basically they sell their information to lead companies, and then they get absolutely bombarded with
Yeah.
calls and
So being
texts, all that stuff.
bombarded with too much info.
I mean, that's
All right.
more of the pre-sale, though. I mean, I don't know if you.
Yeah. So all we want to do essentially is take one of these, and then you've got all these ones you can test out, and then we can plug this into here as your lead. So if we grab this, so we grab that is what we're going to replace out. And then what I like to do is the reason when you're testing angles, which is the most important thing, the reason why you're testing angles doesn't work. Like you've got to prove an audience here. So you know that if you're testing, it's the angle that's not working. And one of the variables of why an angle doesn't work is related to sophistication level. So what you want to do is look at like, so this ad here, I mean, stop scrolling. Have you heard of private health insurance? So this is, if I had to pick what kind of lead type this was, I would say this is probably going to be like a secret lead, right? Because it's like, have you heard of private health insurance? Right. So what we want to do is we want to kind of replicate this secret lead with a different angle. Okay. So what we want to do here is basically it's got to be a secret. This is, have you heard of XYZ? So have you heard of insurance that has, like, obviously this isn't true, so we have to kind of add facts to this. But say for an example, have you heard of insurance that has little to no co-pays on doctor visits?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that's one. And then the next one is, have you heard of, when we look at, have you heard of,
I see what you're doing. Yeah.
yeah. So like, how can we make that a secret lead? So have you heard of,
Insurance companies not paying after you've paid or something like that.
Yeah. Have you heard of insurance? Have you heard of tailored Have you heard of tailored insurance plans that only have exactly what you require? That's too broad, but you know what I mean? That would be a good one. Maybe not even have stop scrolling, right? But that's what's going to be your lead. So your video will reflect that as well. So I think at the moment your video is pretty much to the point. It's saying, hey, my name's Jay, blah, 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 got this. So what you want to do now is you just need to have a 10 seconds that you have on that. So what you just knock these out. And what's interesting is if you fill this out here, right? If you fill out three of these in each, then you have all these ads you can play with from that one angle. And then where it gets like super crazy is this next part, which we call a matrix.
So add another 10 seconds in the front and swap out the
yeah, 5 to 10 seconds exactly. But where is it? Should be seeing where this is. If I can't find it, I can just send later. Basically, you can do what's called an ad matrix, where, okay, so you've got your idea. Now what you can do is you can start actually putting it into what we call a matrix, which is different ways that you can frame it. I'll just pause this while I find it. Hang on. So I know.
Yeah, so the core of video is still there with all the information and this and a story and a call to action, but the
So, like this one here, right? So this is where it comes in. You can do stuff like this. So you've got like your customer, and then you've got imagery, you've got emotions, you've got statements, you've got future, A to B, identity, capability, language, etc. So like, let's say for an example that you have like this one here, let's say this one does really well, right? The no copays on doctors. So you can really kind of play with that. So now what you want to do is let's take this and apply a matrix on it. So going to the doctor without copays. Let's do point A to B, and let's do from desire. Okay. So point A to B from desire basically is go from paying 80% copays every time you visit a doctor all the way down to zero, right? Or you could do, you got imagery, or like you could do, let's do customer's worst enemy, and you can do basically auditory, right? So basically, or yeah, auditory. No, let's do auditory. So basically, auditory is you have a quote from someone that you take from Reddit. This is basically like, you know, imagine having an ear infection and then paying $80 for a 5-minute consult.
yeah,
Right? Yeah. So there's so many ways you can do it, and that is a horizontal scale. And what you can do there is, because your click-through rate is like 1%, right? Right now, it's probably below 1% from what I saw. So if you just do like, I would basically just go through, and if you fill this out, you should be able to start off with negative and just fill out like, pick a frame and just go like boom, 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 and do 3. Then what you do is take that best ad, or sorry, take that audience that you have, and then put it into a different campaign, and then just start running tests with the creatives, with the angle. And then you can kind of just keep doing that and expanding horizontally. What I've seen though is you're using that one audience there. There's probably other audiences that you could build on top of that too. And there's probably audiences that you could turn back on that are actually winning audiences, but the angle just needs to be a bit better. So I would I'll probably take your best performing 3 to 4 audiences, put them in a new campaign, call it angle testing, because those audiences are proven and they're at KPI. And then what you do is basically just test about 3 different angles at a time. The thing is though, with Facebook, it's always going to gravitate to one angle, and then that's where the spend's going to go. So you may have to like have a campaign that has like 4 audiences and then one angle, and then run that angle until it reaches a certain KPI. Then
one campaign, one angle.
Yeah, and then switch it out and have a different angle. Because I've found that if you have 3 ads like in there, Facebook always like it's not a good way for creative testing, because Facebook always just like it chooses one, doesn't give spend to the others. And then once you do that, if you find some winners there, you probably have enough to be able to go into a CBO campaign. And that's how we're seeing, how we're scaling mainly at the moment. Because once you do the horizontal scale with that, and you start testing out different ads and different angles with the proven audiences, then you can also take the winning ads and then use that to find more audiences. So the ad that you have there, that was your best performing ad so far, put that in a separate campaign, and then whatever audience worked, there's probably like 8 other audiences that are like that, and maybe even better, that you could test out too. But you want to get to the point, if you can see this, you want to get to the point. Are you seeing this?
No, I haven't seen this. No.
Oh no, are you seeing that on the screen, or are you seeing?
Oh yeah, I'm seeing the screen.
You see the diagram. So, the aim is to be able to get enough proven ad sets and audiences that you can put them into a CBO, just because you can't really scale ABOs too aggressively. But once they're like stable and in a CBO, you can go from like 20 to 50% each day increasing on that one. So
what's CBO? I'm sorry.
Campaign budget optimization. Or it's called like Advantage now, whatever. So basically, instead of having an ad set and then there's $10 on here, $10 on here, $10 on here, and then you increase that by like 5% each day, whatever. Once you get ads that are doing well, you can put them into a CBO. And basically you put $100 into the campaign, and then Facebook, because it's got, let's say, like 3 or 4 performing ads and audiences together, pairings, it's like more diversified. So basically every day Facebook will just be like, oh, well, let's put money in here, here, and here. And it'll figure out there's always going to be something that's winning to put in. Whereas here, like, let's say this is $20 a day and you put this to $30 a day, and then it just tanks, and then you got to like decrease it down. You can't really scale it as much. So as soon as you get like proven ones working, you can put them into a CBO, and then you could scale this from $100 a day to $200 a day because it's diversified across those 4 or 5 ad sets. So you can just scale CBOs like quite aggressively. So if you do, you keep this one that you have already, you duplicate the campaign, and then you basically have your winning audience that you had already with the ones you get from the Swiss Army knife. Then you take your winning ads and then use that to find more audiences. And then you put together those pairings for a CBO. That's like the best way we've seen to scale and have like consistency. But your CTR just needs to be improved because your CPM is pretty good. Like our CPM, we were seeing absolutely skyrocketed. And we thought it was just because, oh, maybe we're getting a better audience, because sometimes we see an increase in CPM when we use the data. But what we found is a lot of it is actually related to placements too. So all we did was just adjust the sizing of our videos to be like one for reels and then one for feeds. And we saw like a CPM cut of like 50% on top of like what we're doing with the data and stuff. So your CPM is good. But
yeah, I've got 3 different versions of each one: square, real, and wide.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I think your CPM doesn't really need much work on it. Like I think like the amount, like you could test more audiences, try to get a lower CPM, whatever, but ultimately it just comes down to conversions. And I think if you're looking at your best win is going to be CTR, and that's going to be just taking the winning audience and then just setting up a test with that Swiss Army knife thing. I'll paste this in.
Hey, Adam, which voice is working best for you on those video ads? Your own voice or the robot voice?
The robot voice. It's so funny. Everybody hates the robot voice, but it's just working. I don't know. It's like
I think it sounds TikTok-ish, so I think it'd probably get more.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of fits in. But we're seeing super high CPMs at the moment for a lot of ads we're doing because of before we started doing set placements. So like we find a winner and CTR is like killer, but then yeah.
So the AI voice works better?
Yeah, I've seen AI voice work really well. Like literally, like what we do now is we'll record a script, plug it into 11 Labs, and then just do the AI voice, and then just chuck in, different videos, like from like Motion Array or something, and that's working really well. All right. Sweet. Does that help, Jay? Let me know if that.
Oh my gosh, immensely. Yes, absolutely.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Nice.
You do your ages in Audience Lab, or do you let Facebook do the ages?
Yeah, good question. In Audience Lab, I like to have the audiences as big as possible. So I don't filter by age or location when inside Audience Lab. I push it out to Facebook because what you're looking for is the intent.
Yeah.
Most importantly, because you can, you can't get as much intent using interests, whereas like you can easily just, set off locations and stuff. So get as much intent as you can from the audiences. and then you create your lookalikes, and then you add your gender targeting or your location targeting.
Perfect. Okay, great.
All right, any ad questions? Let's wrap up.
Do you ever make an updated video on those YouTube videos you're making on the case study?
Yeah. I recorded like now I'll stop this because it's going on track, but